presented by Dr. Pepper. The number today is 20. That is how many times College Game Day has been in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You already know why we're here. Vandy is here as well. We got Harry Douglas, Harry Lyles, Christine Williamson here. Hello, sirs. How are we this morning?
The weather is unbelievable.
Feels glorious.
Here in Alabama. But let me check and make sure everyone is ready for College Game Day. Sweet home Alabama. Ooh-wee.
They never let us down.
We love to hear it. We love to hear it. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Harry, you excited? Harry,
Always.
you excited?
I'm excited.
Okay, we like to start every show with something that we call three big things. As you guys know, this is a revenge game for Alabama, right? They're going to try to beat Vandy after getting beat last season, right? Right? Okay, good. Vandy obviously has Bama's full attention, but has Alabama fixed enough from last season?
I think they have. The most important piece to everything was the quarterback position. And Ty Simpson, who's a Heisman candidate, he has been phenomenal this season so far. Last week, watching him versus Georgia, orchestrate things at the line of scrimmage, decipher the blitz, deliver the football to all of his weapons. But the most important thing at the quarterback position that you must do, Christine, is take care of the football. Alabama is one of 3 teams in the country that hasn't had a turnover yet this season. 0 fumbles lost, 0 interceptions. So we don't need anybody else to talk about when we talk about quarterbacks. When you have a guy like Ty Simpson. But that's not the only thing. In this matchup last year, Alabama wasn't good on third downs. Last week versus Georgia, 13-19 on third downs. That defense, they held the Georgia Bulldogs to 2 for 8. That's 25%. So those are some of the glaring things that are different in 2025 versus 2024 when it comes to this Alabama football team.
All right, I want to talk about 2025 Alabama football because obviously game 1 of this season, not so great. How has this Alabama's offense improved since that one?
Listen, sometimes you just got to knock the rust off, right? This Alabama team is still one of the most talented in the country, and it's not even close. I mean, this offensive line has really gotten correct. Since that first Florida State game, they really just bullied them, right? And I know people think, Coach Saban's gone, it's not going to be the same. Look, Kalen DeBoer is one of the best football coaches in the country. This line got right. It allowed Ty Simpson to get right. And even though the running game hasn't quite been there, when you got Ryan Williams and Germie Bernard, like, who cares, right? And it kind of doesn't matter. And we've seen that over the last few weeks of this Alabama team. They are back.
You agree?
1,000%. This Alabama football team, a lot of people wrote them off. Listen, I'm not going to lie. I was one of those people after they lost to Florida State. I wasn't too happy. I went on a rant. I posted a video. I said they're going to bring Nick Saban off of this game day desk. He was going to go back to coaching Bama. But Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb as an offensive coordinator, those guys have weathered the storm, and they're doing an unbelievable job.
I really like that Theismann sign that we saw a little bit ago. But let's talk about Vandy. They've beaten all 5 of their opponents this season by 20 points or more.
Ooh.
Obviously, they love to hear that. HD, what has made their offense so incredibly potent?
It starts with their quarterback, Diego Pavia, and he's a dual-threat guy. This is a guy who's passing the football 1,000% better than he did a season ago. 2024, only completing 59% of his passes, Christine. That's up to 74%, but we all know he's a dual-threat guy. So when it comes to him, the creation that he provides this offense, the scramble plays, extending plays as well, being an extension of the run game, he is leading the Vanderbilt Commodores right now in rushing. So it's imperative today that this Alabama defense contain him within that pocket and not allow him to get loose.
What do you think, Lyles?
They haven't seen anything like this, have they? They haven't seen a team like Alabama yet.
I thought you were saying Alabama's never seen anything like Vandy, but go on.
No, let's not get carried away. That'd be nuts. That'd be nuts. Whoa. Right, yeah. No. When we talk about just pure talent on the football field, Vanderbilt has not seen a team like that they are going to see on both sides of the football today and even on special teams. So, again, I think Vanderbilt, have they put together a nice start this season? Absolutely. Is it historically great for them? Absolutely. Do I think it stops today? Yes.
Oh.
But can I add this as well? I do believe the Vanderbilt that we're seeing in 2025 is way better than the Vandy that we've seen in 2024. Yes. But the difference is they're not going to sneak up and catch Alabama by surprise. This is a football team that's hungry, and they want the revenge from last season. Yes or no?
That's right.
The fans do too.
We don't lose to Vanderbilt, do we? That's right. I didn't think so.
He
I
said,
mean, we might have last year, but it's not happening
this
again.
team is hungry.
It's not happening again.
They hungry.
They
Okay,
hungry.
which one of these two offenses do you think is better equipped to show up in big moments?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Alabama, and it's because offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, the job that he's done so far this season is really remarkable. You look at last week, putting Caden Proctor outside. Big guys need loving too. Go, big boy, go.
What is it? What is it, big boy?
Go, big boy.
Big boy.
Go, big boy, go. But I love the things like being prepared for the task at hand, knowing that Kirby Smart was going to blitz last week majority of the times, but understanding, hey, guys, we're not going to huddle up all the time. We're going to line up on the line of scrimmage. We're going to get Georgia to declare what they're doing, and I'm going to let my quarterback, who's very cerebral and understands the game at a high level, dissect what he's seeing and deliver the football to these weapons. So I love everything about Alabama right now. It started off rough, but they found their way, and I believe in this football team.
Absolutely. I'm with HD on this. Look, like, the one thing that Diego Pavia has is want to, but want to is not going to win you a game against a team like Alabama. It's just not. And with this Alabama offense, you saw that first half that they put together against Georgia. If you have that in you, you can beat absolutely anybody. When we look at this Vanderbilt team, I just think, again, they're going to be so overpowering, especially on the outside. It's going to be way too much for them to handle.
All right, we'll get game picks for this matchup a little later in the show, but y'all feeling good, right? Y'all are feeling good. Okay, good. All right, let's move over to the ACC because you already know there's a Sunshine State showdown going down there. Miami taking on Florida State. They're not happy about it. Are y'all good? Just a reminder that they got beat by FSU. Okay, so we're gonna play a game. It's called
Not necessary at
Give me
all.
a number. Starting with number 47. That's the percentage of completed passes for Carson Beck, 15 or more yards downfield. HD, what can Beck do against FSU to improve that number?
Well, let me tell you what he can't do. He can't have those boneheaded interceptions that he's had in his last two ball games, which he had 3. Started off the season very, very well. You got to make great decisions versus a team like Florida State. This is a rivalry game. But when it comes to the run game and Mark Fletcher, I do believe they can lean on him a little bit more. Carson Beck being able to look underneath to all his weapons that he has, going through his progressions. Don't force the issue if you don't have to, but lean on Mark Fletcher as a runner. I believe he's underrated and doesn't get enough attention when you talk about this Miami Hurricanes football team.
Anything on Beck?
I mean, I'm with HD on this one. The good in Carson Beck is good, but that bad is really bad. This Florida State team, we've seen how tough they can be.
Yeah.
I give them more credit than I do for Alabama on that loss just because, again, they were so physical, so dominant. That is still possible today. He might have some issues.
Yeah, we've seen Carson Beck struggle, obviously, when he was at Georgia, so hopefully he can figure that out today for my sake. The next number is 281. That's the number of combined passing and rushing yards that Castellanos had in 2023 when he was at Boston College versus Miami, who obviously they're playing today. What can Mike Norvell do to set his quarterback up for success, Lyles?
Yo, he's got to protect his little behind. Like, we saw what this Miami team did to DJ Lagway.
Yeah.
He's still got to be having nightmares about that football game. I know Tommy Castellanos is one of the toughest players in the country. I covered a couple of his games when he was at Boston College, but they are really going to have to give him a chance to try to make plays. I think that Miami defensive line might be a little bit too overwhelming for him today.
I would also say this for Castellanos. Understand, don't make this about yourself. It's not you versus the Miami Hurricanes. Understand this is a team game because I think if you get into that matchup, me versus Miami, that's when mistakes are going to start to happen. And you're going to see that Miami defense that we seen close up down there when they played Florida tee off on you left and right.
Yeah. All right. The next number is 11.5. That is the number of points per game the Hurricanes defense is allowing on average this season. What is the key for the Hurricanes to keep that going or below that against FSU?
Well, Christine, let me say this first. When it comes to the Miami Hurricanes and their defense, they're fast, they're physical, and you talk about arriving at the ball carrier with bad intentions, they do all of that. They have 2 phenomenal ends that are going to play on Sundays with Messidor and also Ruben Bain, but it's imperative that they stop the run. Here's why. Florida State, they're second in the nation in rushing the football, averaging 336 rush yards per game. Yes, folks, that's not a typo. I didn't misspeak. 336 rush yards per game. But I do believe that Miami, they're going to be able to neutralize the run game like they did versus Notre Dame in their first game, force Castellanos to be a passer and one-dimensional, and I think that's where you can get them.
I'm agreed. And I'm going with Miami in this game. I think that they're too physically imposing. Also, Christine, if you guys don't know, she went to Miami. She would get very upset if we didn't pick Miami. So, I'm going with the Hurricanes.
Thank you. Who do you got, HD?
I'm rocking with the U, baby. The U is back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you guys don't have to ask me. Lyles already said it.
Didn't even put
I got
a pick in
Miami.
the document.
It's great to be Miami Hurricane. Okay, let's move on to something we're calling questions asked, questions answered. There were obviously a lot of questions going into this season, so we're going to ask those questions and see if they've actually been answered. The first one, can Ty Simpson get up to speed with Ryan Grubb's offense?
I think that the answer to that's been yes. I know that first game looked tough, but again, this offensive line shook that rust off, because that first game, HD, I was really concerned about that. Like, if you get pushed around the football field like that, it always starts in the trenches. That has allowed them to really, ignore the fact that the running game still hasn't quite been there. I know they've had some injuries back there, but the fact that Germie Bernard and Ryan Williams, Germie Bernard has kind of made Ryan Williams not necessarily an afterthought, but he has been the better receiver on this team thus far this year. So I think it was always just a matter of if and not when, or when and not if, for this offense. So I think the fact that they finally got that together is not a surprise at all.
Well, just the simple fact that Ty Simpson was able to grasp the offense of Ryan Grubb.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan Grubb was a breath of fresh air for this Alabama roster, especially guys offensively. But here's the thing that can kind of get Alabama as they move along throughout this season. They need to rush the football better.
Yeah.
They're third to last in the SEC in rushing the football, and I'm not accustomed to those numbers when we talk about Alabama because the brand of football that they play. When Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer was in Washington, everyone thought it was just Michael Penix and Rome Odunze. No, they rushed the football effectively too, and they had great runs and a great run scheme.
Yep.
So for Alabama, you have to get that run game going at some point because you don't want to continuously be one-dimensional and teams cut off one thing and play the pass and drop 7 or 8 guys, and now you're forced to run the football. But if it's foreign territory to you, that's not a good place to be.
Especially in this conference.
Yep. We'll see if they're able to do that today. The next question, this was another question heading into the season. Texas Tech spent a lot of money and brought 21 transfers in. How quickly would they all mesh together, or would it work? HD, what is your answer?
Well, I love how everything has worked out for Texas Tech. Normally, when you bring in that many transfers, it's a learning curve. It's going to take a while for guys to gel. They hit the ground running. And I look at 2 transfers that they had starting with their defensive ends, David Bailey and also Remilio Height, who came from Georgia Tech, and Bailey came from Stanford. Those 2 guys have played relentless. I love how in unison this football team is right now. And I think they might be one of the better teams in the country that we aren't talking about enough.
Yes, that's right. I totally agree. And you mentioned Bailey and Height. Those were the 2 that, like, out of everybody that they brought in with that class and how much money they spent, you really needed those 2 to work. Because this defense was legitimately one of the 10 worst in the country last year. They didn't get to the passer. Like, they gave up big plays. They could not do anything right defensively, and I think the fact that you saw, especially, and I keep going back to their win against Utah, the fact that your offense got held to 10 points when they were the #1 scoring offense in FBS, starter goes out. You think, okay, this is the perfect chance for Utah to win this football game. Freshman comes in, tears them up. So the fact that they have all that in their arsenal, their best is just as good as anybody else's best.
All right, the next question. What would the switch from Dylan Gabriel to Dante Moore look like for Oregon? What is the answer?
It's looked phenomenal. And I think what benefited Dante Moore is, number one, going to Oregon, learning behind Dylan Gabriel, who's a savvy veteran, a guy who's going to get his first start in the NFL this weekend over in London, playing against the Minnesota Vikings. But Dylan Gabriel has played a lot of football, so that was the perfect person for Dante Moore to be able to sit behind, learn, grasp the offense, so when you became the starting quarterback, you can hit the ground running. I love the poise that he had last week in Happy Valley, going on the road at night during a whiteout. He was cool, calm, and collected. So much so that I believe more in Dante Moore, more so than I ever will in Drew Aller as a quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Without question. And I think, too, HD, a lot of people, when they saw that Dante Moore transferred, they're like, okay, well, what's wrong with him? Because it's like, if you have a 5-star quarterback that transfers after 1 year, everybody assumes they're no good, right? The goods are bad, like the work ethic is not there, any of these types of things. But to your point, sitting behind Dylan Gabriel, who, mind you, I don't know the exact number, but he has some of the most starts in NCAA history, right? Like, you are learning from the guy who has been through basically everything, right? Because Dylan played at UCF. He won a Red River Rivalry. He is one of the most successful quarterbacks in Oregon history. And again, I think even with this Oregon team, I know Dan Lanning is known for his defense, but they still got that high-flying offense, Will Stein, and they have continued to put it together. He has looked fantastic, and for as much as we love to compliment Penn State, the talent on that defense, and getting Jim Knowles, hey, man, the fact that he threw for 3 touchdowns and completed like 70-some-odd% of his passes, to me, Oregon is not getting enough credit for what they've done this football season.
So you know what excited me last week when it came to Oregon? When it was time to play big boy football and you had to put your big boy pads on and you had short yardage situations, they were able to convert. And you've seen the real raw emotions from Dan Lanning on the sideline. I love when a coach can show those emotions and praise his players, but also get on them when things aren't the way that it's supposed to be. But love them up when they make plays and they ball out. So I love that about Dan Lanning.
Don't you feel like we're being blessed by God right now? Look at the sun.
No.
It's like God himself is blessing us. Thank you. Okay, we mentioned Penn State a few times. The question going in was, can Drew Aller take that next step in his development and lead Penn State past their usual Big Ten roadblocks? What do you think the answer to that is, HD?
For me, I don't believe in him right now. Last week was a perfect test, and we sat up here on this stage while we were in Happy Valley, and we said they needed Penn State, the fans, the coaching staff, his teammates, they needed Drew Aller to step up and make plays left and right. He got kind of started late in the fourth quarter, but it was that overtime, the ill-advised interception that closed the game out for Oregon and allowed Penn State to lose it. So time and time again, when it comes to big games, Drew Aller is making these uncharacterized mistakes that he cannot make for his football team. And it's to the point to where I don't believe Penn State is going to thrive and be where everyone expects them to be because I don't have that much faith in the quarterback.
Well, you know what it feels like, HD, to me is with Drew Aller. Like, you know, a lot of people talk about, well, he didn't throw a lot of picks last year. He generally does not turn the ball over a ton. He obviously did in a very poor moment last week.
But it's the moments.
It's the moments, but it's not even just the moments. Like, to me, when we talk about him as a player, I feel like people are projecting just the fact that, hey, this is a top 5 team. This guy, you know, had a high ceiling, a lot of potential. But to me, like, when I watch this Penn State offense the last 2 years, even though they've taken more shots down the field, it always feels like they're playing not to lose. That's
a great point.
Like, when have you ever watched this Penn State offense, aside from them running the football, and been like, you know what, they're really about to get after it with this defense? I've never felt that the last 2 years. Still have not felt that for this team this year. Even when they've played against the lesser competition going into that Oregon game, they were not tearing them teams up.
You know, with you saying that, though, I have to question the offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki. Does he know something that we don't know because he's working with Drew Aller every single day? Is he not trusting his quarterback to go make those plays and open things up time and time again each week? So that's a big question that a lot of people are probably going to have right now.
All right, another big question going back to the SEC. Will the transfers that LSU's defense brought in be enough to make them an elite unit? What do you think, Lyles?
Oh, absolutely. Between Mansour Delane, who covered a few of his games the last few years at Virginia Tech, always knew he was a great player, but he has really been unlocked at LSU. And even A.J. Halsey also in that defensive backfield. Patrick Payton they had on the defensive line, and Bernard as well. To me, they have meshed perfectly. They're up to 6th in SP+. Like, if you are stacking up there, you are giving yourself a chance. And it is the reason that LSU has been in every single game that they've played because, surprisingly, that offense has been the thing that has struggled. I mean, even when we talked about the receivers that they brought in, I've said on this show, I thought Barry Brown was going to really get unlocked this year because of playing with Garrett Nussmeier, and it simply hasn't happened. So that, to me, has been the more shocking part. I mean, when you looked at the talent that was brought in on this defense, they were very intentional with who and where they brought them in. But to me, the offense has been the surprise.
Yeah, I believe the offense has been the weakest link. I don't have many questions about their defense. They can't run the football. When you look at Garrett Nussmeier, he's a guy who came in hoping to be a first-round pick in the 2026 NFL draft. And I know he's dealing with an oblique injury, but at the same time, take care of the football. He did not do that versus Ole Miss last week. That's one of the reasons why Ole Miss was able to come out with that victory. But Brian Kelly, he's going to have to get something together because being that one-dimensional and not being able to run the football is sad. I just talked about it when it came to Alabama. You can't be that way in SEC football. It just doesn't work.
This year was supposed to be different, and it has not been different. I mean, it has been different, but it has not been complete. It was supposed to be complete.
All right, so those are some of the top questions going into the season. Obviously, we've seen a few weeks under our belt. What are your top remaining questions?
For me, I'm going to go to Indiana University. And it's, can they make it to the Big Ten championship? This is one of the teams in the country that I think is one of the most complete. You're talking about running the football, passing the football. They have the quarterback, the receivers, the running back, O-line. They're top 5 in offense. They're top 5 in defense. But you don't hear people talking about them all the time. They have 2 big games left over. They have Oregon next week. They got to go on the road, and then they have Penn State. If they go 1-1 in those ball games, then we're talking about an Indiana team that could potentially be playing for the Big Ten championship.
Oh, yeah. Fernando Mendoza, baby. For me, it's this Ole Miss quarterback situation. You've got a lot of money invested in both of them, especially Austin Simmons, who is still a very talented quarterback. He's just been hurt. But watching what Trinidad Chambliss has done, if you're Lane Kiffin, are you riding the hot hand? Are you going to put your guy back in when he's healthy? Like, it doesn't feel like they could go wrong one way or the other. But I do think that is going to be interesting watching that unfold. And I also think that is a dangerous situation given when you are now in the meat of your SEC schedule. Do you really want to be going back and forth with your quarterbacks, even if they are good? I don't really want to be in that situation. So I'm interested to see how that unfolds.
All right, we'll see if some of those questions are answered going into this week. Obviously, it's a packed Saturday. Time now for Fansville Advantage, presented by Dr. Pepper. For this, we look ahead to next week. Red River Rivalry. You know we have to break down one of the biggest rivalries, obviously, in college football. It's going to be lit. Let's start off with Oklahoma. How does OU move the ball without their quarterback, John Mateer?
So the backup quarterback that's going to be playing today versus Kent State is Michael Hawkins Jr. He's the guy that stepped into that ball game last year. Remember, College Game Day was at Oklahoma. They played against Tennessee.
Right.
Jackson Arnold struggled. He came into that ball game late, led them to 2 touchdown drives. He had a start versus Auburn, won that one, and then he actually did start in the Red River Rivalry last year, and it was a bit too much for him. But for today, this is a warm-up game for next week. They have that rivalry game next week versus Texas. Be cool, calm, and collected. Don't do too much. Now, he's going to be an extension of the run game, and surprisingly for Oklahoma, John Mateer led them in rushing. It's going to have to be the same thing with Michael Hawkins Jr. He's going to have to lead them in rushing and be a big part of that run game, but, you know, hit your layups. When you have the wide-open guys to throw the football to, don't miss them. Protect the football. Don't turn it over, and I believe versus Kent State today, Oklahoma, they're going to be okay.
Absolutely.
I wish that we had smell-o-vision because there's like a faint smell of like sausage in the air. As we know.
You mean burnt sausage?
Is it,
like somebody
is it burnt?
It over.
I can see the smoke over there. So obviously,
hopefully it doesn't get out of control. But you know, if it does, like I did cover a fire when we had the game at Wake Forest.
Oh, I did see that. That was great.
I've got it under
this
control.
This guy does have it under control.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of smells, obviously, in Dallas for the Red River Rivalry. When you think about these two teams, Brent Venables' defense versus Arch Manning in the offense, who do you think has the advantage?
Hey,
That's a stupid question.
You had me at Brent Venables' defense, Christine. What you mean? Look, I know Arch has played better over the last few weeks, but they have been against Sam Houston, UTEP, San Jose State. HD, I need to see it against some big boys. You know what I mean? And when you talk about this Brent Venables defense, one of the things that he is best at is rattling your QB1. I am so intrigued. I mean, look at this film. Look at him chasing them boys down. I really want to see what this Oklahoma defense is going to do to Arch. Because I still believe it's got to be in his head a little bit.
Heck yeah.
How Ohio State went, yes, like some of these other games have gone well. He did sort of start off slow against San Jose State. I think he still needs to see the ball go through the basket, but he really needs to take advantage of this one. And I think if he doesn't, it could kind of wreck their season.
Yeah, that's a question, but it's not a very smart question. Okay, so this one's for both of you. Texas State Fair. We've had, why are you laughing?
Keep going.
We've been there a few times, right? They have fried butter. They have fried literally everything.
Fried butter. Whew. Make my heart stop.
What are you trying to eat at the fair?
So the first thing that I'm grabbing is a funnel cake with extra powdered sugar and cooked apples on top of it. Oh,
I'm with that.
That's a lot.
I mean, if we're getting creative with it, can I get some caramel on top?
Ew, you guys, my teeth are going to fall out thinking about this.
What are you talking about?
That's a lot of sugar.
What are you going to get?
Okay, so just so you guys know, I don't know if you guys know this, at the Texas State Fair is where corn dogs were invented.
I didn't
know that.
No.
Okay, so corn dogs were invented at the Texas State Fair. They have these things. They're called corny dogs. They only want you to put mustard on them. They're really good. So I enjoy having a corn dog.
Just a corn dog, Christine, for all of the things that they fry up in that.
It's good.
I can go buy a damn box of corn dogs and cook them at home.
No, they're literally so good. You have to. Have you never?
Christine.
It's from where they're invented.
No, Christine, you little dumb
They're the
pass.
best
Go
corn dogs.
downfield.
They're the best corn dogs you've ever had in your life.
No. Fried Oreos, funnel cake.
No. It's too sugary. It's too sugary. Too much sugar. You guys need to have the original.
The
OG corn dog is at the Texas State Fair. They're called corny dogs. You put mustard on them. They're delicious.
Mini previews. Come on.
Okay. Let's get into some other games that are happening. This week is loaded, obviously, with great matchups. So let's take a peek, starting with Texas Tech at Houston. Who you got, Lyles?
I got Texas Tech in this one. I think Houston has had a good start. They've almost let some games go, got some that they probably shouldn't have. I expect Texas Tech to continue to roll in this one.
Anything on that one?
Nope.
Okay.
Mini preview.
Well, there's no video ready, so I'm just trying to keep it going. All right, Clemson at North Carolina. First meeting between Dabo Swinney and Bill Belichick in the ACC. Who do you got in this one, HD?
So I'm going to go with the Clemson Tigers, but I never thought in a million years at this juncture in the season that we will be talking about these two teams combined being 3-5. Let me also state this. North Carolina is not a good football team.
No.
And if Clemson loses to North Carolina today,
then it's a problem.
They have officially crashed out.
Yep, 100%.
And I mean officially.
100%.
Because North Carolina, I will state again, it's not a good football team.
Yeah.
If Clemson loses to them today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's officially go ahead and crash out.
I mean, we've already seen Dabo Swinney crying this week or this year, so who knows?
Well, thank God Miami's good this year because Christine would be quite upset with that 1-3 on that screen, man.
Woo. Anyways, moving on. Luke Fickell and the Badgers head to the Big House to take on Bryce Underwood and the Wolverines. Who you got, Lyles?
Man, Cologne is behind the camera. He just took his clothes off. It said Bryce Underwood. Listen, I think we need to see growth from Bryce Underwood today. And if you are Wisconsin and Luke Fickell, you need to look at least some sort of not relevant, but cognizant of being able to put something together.
I agree with that.
This has just really not gone the way that I think any of us really thought. I thought when Luke Fickell took this job, I saw what he did at Cincinnati, all the guys that he put into the NFL. I'm like, yo, he's the one that can break that ceiling at Wisconsin. Like, he can make them an actual national contender. It has not been that. They got to show us something today in the Big House.
All right, it's a blackout game at Kyle Field for Texas A&M as they host Mississippi State, coming off of a 41-34 loss in OT to Tennessee. What do you got, HD?
Well, for this matchup, number one, Mississippi State last week could have easily beaten Tennessee at home.
They should have.
If it wasn't for their quarterback, Blake Shapen.
Yeah.
He had a sack fumble return for a touchdown. He had an interception return for a touchdown. That's 14 points that he gave to the opponent. But I do believe at Cal Field, Texas A&M, they're going to be entirely too much. I love what Mike Elko has brought to the table as a head coach. That demeanor, that toughness, culture is everything. Marcel Reed, I like Craver at the wide receiver position, and also Concepcion, two transfers that they got that has made a huge difference for Texas A&M. Give it to Aggies.
We talk about teams that if they're playing at their best, they can beat anybody. A&M's one of them.
All right, Kirby Smart and the Dogs coming off that loss to Alabama, hosting Mark Stoops and Kentucky. Lyles, what do you got?
Hate to be the team on the wrong side of the Georgia loss, baby. Yeah. You hate to be that next team on the schedule, boy. I know Kentucky almost got them last year. That is not going to be the case today. This Georgia team is going to come out. They're going to be fundamentally sound. They're going to be punching guys in the mouth. I think Georgia is going to steamroll them today. Sanford Stadium is going to be hot.
And to be honest, I would love to see it. I went to the University of Louisville. There's nothing about Kentucky that I like. So go Dogs, go.
All right, finally, Arch Manning and co. visiting the Swamp to take on DJ Lagway and the Gators. What do you have in this one?
This is a trap game for the University of Texas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We said it last week when it came to the Florida State Seminoles. Don't overlook Virginia before you get to your rivalry game against Miami. They lost on a Friday night. I'm saying it right now on this Saturday. If you're Texas, don't overlook Florida looking ahead to the Red River Rivalry versus Oklahoma next week.
Yeah.
This is a game that could really trip up the Texas Longhorns, but that defense, in my opinion, when it's all said and done, they're not going to allow it to happen.
Yeah.
I'll go as far as to pick Florida today. I'm gonna go with Florida today.
I mean, they're in the Swamp.
Listen, I think that DJ Lagway just has to be competent. I think that defense is going to be tight enough to where that they can give Arch problems.
I like that you said he just has to be competent. Anything else on any of those games? All right, time now for Get More Game Day presented by Geico. Jess Sims met up with Alabama wide receiver Germie Bernard. Take a listen.
You spent your first year at Michigan State, Washington, and now the last 2 years in Alabama.
Yep.
Tell me more about this journey.
Yeah, okay. So it's been pretty crazy. You know, I committed to Washington my sophomore year of high school. Before that, Coach DeBoer, he came and visited me at my house. And, you know, when I made that decision to go in the portal, he was like, I would love to have you back. So I'm very blessed for him to be able to still take a chance on me.
So you said Coach DeBoer took a chance on you, but then you took a chance on him and you followed him here to Alabama. And even though this is one of your dream schools, what is it about him that is so special?
You know, it's just been a really great relationship for me, honestly, and I can go to him anytime and be vulnerable with him and, you know, talk to him and let him know how I'm feeling, and he's willing to listen and give me advice whenever I need it.
Huge game tomorrow. You got Vandy, obviously some revenge talk probably in the locker room. What are the vibes right now with your team?
You know, we talked about it's about us, it's about playing our game. Obviously we fired up because of what happened last year. We don't want to ever have that feeling again. So, you know, we just ready to go out there and dominate.
Before I let you go, talk to me about the eye black that you have with the Bible verses.
You know, people always ask me what I want to do in my life, and you know, I've kind of finally figured it out that I just want to fulfill my purpose on what God has for me. Whatever He brings to my heart, that's what I put on my eye black, and I rock with it.
I love that. Well, we can't wait to watch you celebrate tomorrow, so appreciate your time.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Jess, for that interview. Germie Bernard has surpassed Ryan Williams as a receiver on this offense. How has he done that?
So he leads them in receptions, receiving yards, and also receiving touchdowns. But what a lot of people aren't paying close attention to, he came to Alabama with his head coach, Kalen DeBoer. He played for Ryan Grubb at Washington. So there's no one better to be an extension of the coaching staff, head coach-wise and offensive coaching-wise, than Germie Bernard. He is a stud. They can count on him catching the football in the middle of the field, on the outside, making plays, scoring, just being there for Ty Simpson. But most importantly, when you can be an extension of your head coach and your offensive coordinator in that locker room, that means more. And that's what we're seeing from Germie Bernard in 2025.
You having a good time, Christine?
I like that he said that means more, because it does just mean more. You have anything to say about Bernard?
I mean, look, I think that's sort of that formula of either, whether it's wide receiver, you see it at quarterback, you've seen it where the quarterback and the offensive coordinator go to one place, and you're seeing the success. I mean, I think of Devin Dampier and Jason Beck at Utah, quarterback and offensive coordinator combo going together. You're seeing that here at the wide receiver position with Germie Bernard and Ryan Grubb and the success that they're having. I think you're going to see that formula replicated a lot over the next few years of college football. And I think it's going to be too much for Vanderbilt to handle today.
You got a little bit ahead of yourself. Let's do some game picks. Talking about this matchup, who do you have?
I just wanted to go first, Christine. Dang. Hating on me. I'm picking Alabama. Roll Tide.
Okay. Who you got?
Well, let me tell y'all this. Vandy, Diego Pavia, the moxie, the excitement, what he poses to a defense, this team overall, they're better in 2025. I like the Vanderbilt Commodores, just not today. Give me Bama Lama, baby.
That's right.
I was like, dang, I thought he chose Bama. I'm also choosing Bama, even though it pains me. I got Alabama in this
Clean
matchup.
sweep by all of us. Alabama.
Any other thoughts that you have for this college football Saturday?
I'm just ready to hear Sweet Home Alabama like 10 times today. I love that song, boy.
So for me, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2, my alma mater, Virginia, Chris Canty, and then University of Louisville, me. Hey, we have a nice bet going on.
What's the bet?
So if Louisville wins, he has to wear a Louisville jersey on First Take and Unsportsmanlike the entire show. And if Virginia wins, I have to wear a Virginia jersey on Get Up and my radio show, Freddie and Harry. The entire show.
HC is snoring a lot of stuff on your show. It's been actually hilarious to see. So you definitely have to watch him. All right, guys, that's all we got for you this weekend. I'm very excited to be here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We don't know where we're going next week, but we will see you there. Thank you for watching Countdown to College Game Day presented by Dr. Pepper.